Good morning, everyone. Welcome to American Scouser's Morning Coffee or Tea with American Scouser on a Monday morning. And that's right, with all his glory, and rightfully so. And sponsored by Amorim today, Grumpy is in the house. And Matush is in the house. What's happening?
Do we have to do this today?
We have to do this every Monday.
We're here. I'm good. I'm here. I don't think the sky is falling as much as some people do, but that's because this is the most important thing out of all the least important things in the world. So things will be okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I get the overall frustration and stuff, but for some reason, I don't feel the same sky is falling too. Maybe is it the acceptance? I feel like there's a certain level of acceptance that, hey, this is what the season is going to be. It's not suddenly going to click.
This is what we said at the end of the summer window, was that this was going to be a difficult year, because of what the club went through. With Diogo's passing, B, with all of the outs and all of the ins and the changing of the locker room there, we accepted that this would be a more difficult year.
Yeah.
The problem that a lot of fans have is that they're imagining this dynasty-esque Liverpool side, if you will, that just won the league, that are adding on top of that. So yes, theoretically, they're getting stronger in some areas. But it doesn't always work that way. There was going to be some form of transition, a period of transition. It was supposed to be last year. It just happens to be this year now. And things happen that you can't control. Like, you can't control that Isak is going to snap his leg right after scoring a goal, and then you're down, and then you force Hugo to play way too much, and then he's injured, right? So it's just one of those things where victims of his own success. Is of their own success, really, is where we're at.
Yeah, I think part of the reason, and we'll talk about like the squad and stuff. I think there's like a lot of discussion about that. Nick is in the house. Ryan, good morning. Alan as well. Nick says something about too many. Maka said last week something about too many changes from last season. These players seem genuinely disinterested in playing for each other. I think, some of the stuff basically it takes time. Good morning, sir. I mean, some of the stuff just takes time. Number one, I mean, when you talk about the camaraderie and stuff like that, I mean, it's reminds me of when I was playing in London. Like every term, we had different people coming from the US, even though most of the team was the same. We would, bring in 3-4, lose 3-4. And new friendships form. This new guy is tight with that guy, or the two new guys are tight with each other, but not with everybody else. And then, but overall, over time, you form those things. It does not happen overnight. I think there's a lot of, comparisons done to club teams, almost assuming those club teams immediately gelled or something like that, whereas that took a few seasons before it became a team. I mean, there's a squad and then you become a team, but when you add so many names, I guess the concern I have, though, is, having said that and understanding that, is you need more pieces for this to work with the new system. So I don't see the light at the end of the tunnel yet.
Yeah, and that's fair. And I think, like you mentioned with Klopp too, it took several seasons to get to that state where the entire team was there playing for each other. This is a team that was inherited from that team, from that makeup of that manager, right? So if you are to see the light at the end of the tunnel, I guess that is then several years down the road where there isn't a player left that was under the Klopp era. Right, it'd have to be all players under the Slot era. I will never get to that point because I don't think it's going to last that long. And I think Nick is mentioning the merry-go-round of managers and making sure that we need to nail the next appointment, and that's absolutely right, because we just saw with Amorim getting fired today. You just end up. I think the nice thing is, though, with ownership at each specific club will really allow you to be able to nail those appointments a little bit better. I think ownership at United is just absolutely rotten. I think you have some of the biggest Man United supporters on social media that will talk about it as well, that Ineos is not doing a great job, and that they're always going to be in that position because they're not willing to give managers the time, and they also have thin of skin where they can't take any criticism, right? Amorim didn't get fired because they were playing poorly. If that was the case, he would have been gone months ago. He got fired because he called out the board and he called out the guys in the suits and pissed them off. So yeah, it's one of those things where I don't think we're gonna.
Oh, you're like rocking over there.
I know. I'm sorry. There's
and every time you move or something, I hear like a pop, 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 pop.
All right, I'm done.
Stop moving, damn it. No, like you were saying, Amorim called him out. I mean, that's the whole manager coach thing. He was like, I'm not Slot. I'm not a coach. I'm a manager, kind of like an ordeal. But Jeff is in the house. Our Scouser in training. If you do not visit our site for the articles, you should, because Jeff is on there with this Scouser in training. I want to say we don't look as fit as we could be. I do hear this a lot, and it is one thing I want to say about that. The three guys who actually seem to have an engine are Silva, McAllister, Hernando. Bradley moves a bunch too, but he's not Robo. The thing, in terms of like fitness, I feel like that's overblown. More than the fitness thing, I just feel like we are playing like not to lose, which is like a new thing to see. Like when you have, it's one thing when you have a problem and you're like, you know what, we can't break down these low blocks, right? It's like there are times where, I don't know, handball is not a thing over here in the US, but back home in Europe, there's a game called handball where there's like the arc and stuff, you know, you're European, you know what I'm talking about. But like sometimes it feels like that, right? You're just like passing from side to side. Somebody has to go in and like freaking like take the shot. But what I don't get is there are so many times where we win the ball, like either do a press or they're like, their misplaced pass or whatever. And you're like, okay, now let's go. Because now they're not set yet. But no, like we pull it back. We're like, okay, let's go back to the set. You guys ready over there? Because we're coming. And then everybody goes back. Everybody gets in that arc again. And then we go over and over again. I just feel like it's not fitness. Or I'll ask you that. I feel like it's playing scared. Like they don't want to attack again and lose the ball and now get countered on ourselves. Or is it fitness? Like we don't have the fitness to be like, let's go. And then we come back.
Yeah, I think it's quite a pragmatic approach. I think his philosophy, from what we've seen and what we're trying to understand, is that if your team concedes less chances, ultimately that's a tactical victory, right? He's willing to not take as many chances because that could open up more chances going the other way. So if you can have more chances than the opposition, no matter what it is, I guess, then it's a tactical win. And that's where, because every single post-match interview that we hear is sort of similar. Like, yeah, I mean, he talks about we played well, we had the chances, we limited their chances. That seems to be on repeat all the time, that we had chances and limited their chances. We had chances, limited their chances, and things just have. So I think that's his approach. Is his tactical win is let's just not give up chances, and he's willing to not take those, I don't know, maybe take those creative chances because he's worried about the counterattack, worried about the ball coming back towards the defenses, towards the defense. So I don't know. I don't think it's a fitness thing. With some players, it's always going to be a fitness thing. I think some players just can't give you 90 every game. Yeah. And you can also expect some players to be physically fit to play 90 after coming off of injuries, right? I mean, so that was one thing with Hugo coming back, is he joined, during the summer, played for a little bit, got hurt, came back, and he can't go 90 every single game. And that wasn't the point of having him. With signing Isak as well, you weren't looking to have him play 90 every single game. So yeah, I don't think it's a fitness thing. There's going to be a little, like your famous pie. There is going to be a little bit of blame on the fitness, but there's going to be a lot more blame elsewhere.
Yeah, the whole like the Ikitsike thing, I think, for example, I think when it's fitness, I mean, that's like built over time. It's not like, my fat ass going in like trying to work out, like, you know, like I just gotta get really like fit over here. It's not like these guys, we're talking like really fine margins for him to go from, you know, 70 minutes to 80 minutes to 9 minutes or whatever. So it's just a matter of, you know, you build that over time. I think in Ekitike, one, the pace of the league, you can see that, you know, he's struggling with the physicality and the pace of the league, and he's getting adjusted to that. So you might be able to do 90 minutes at a slightly slower pace. Now you can only give like 60, 70. And like you said, he is coming from back from the injury, and he probably is not used to playing these like high demand games every freaking 3 days. Like he might have had like a big game midweek or whatever. He might have had like cup games where he played 3 times a week, but not all 3 of them were like high intensity games, which they are in the Premier League. I think, you know, the frustration comes from, well, most people say fitness. I think it's because they don't see them running around gegenpressing nonstop. And I don't think that's because they're tired. I think that's because we don't want to do that, and we don't want to, you know, like leave the back be empty and, you know, like lose the ball. Because I'll be honest, like the press is not very good. When we do it, either it's because somebody decides to do it, like Curtis says, "Here I go." Like I don't know who the trigger is. It's really hard to tell in this team who the trigger is for, like, you know, like the full press, because there are times, because it's not Soboslai, because he's in that mode all the time. So that can't be a trigger. So there are times where somebody decides that they're going, but if you don't press all at the same time, it's very easy to be played around, especially in the Premier League. You're playing like against like top quality players. So you get played around and get exposed in the back. I think, you know, I was okay with this initially when we were losing all the time, but like to stop the bleeding, right? Even if it's a draw, just stop the bleeding, stop conceding, and let's go with that. But now it's like, okay, like when are we going to be like, okay, now let's play to win every game again? I just feel like every game I watch, it's like the same thing where we are playing it too safe and not to lose. And I think it's in the minds of these guys. That goal conceded in the last second yesterday, and it's a world that guy can take that shot another 1,000 times. That's not going to go there. But defensively, I think it's like just shows mentality, because we were like, get in the box, they're gonna throw it in long, we're gonna concede again, kind of a deal, instead of a logical, hey, we're defending a throw-in kind of a deal.
It's damned if you do, damned if you don't, right? We as fans complained so far all year about the long throw-in and not being able to defend it. So they pack everyone in the box to defend a long throw-in, and then they play it short, and Harrison Reed scores the goal of his lifetime. He's never going to score that again. Like, those are things that I don't think that moment specifically, I think a lot of people are pointing to that moment being, well, this is the microcosm of slot football. Like, no, that's just a moment of magic built from moments of the year that has made the defenders play that the way that they are. I think someone was trying to blame Van Dijk as well for not closing out on that shot. Even if Van Dijk had reacted right away, there's no way he was getting anywhere near that shot to make Harrison Reed think any differently. If anything, like, Chiesa probably could have been the one that was closest there that could have stopped the dribble on. But yeah, it's one of those things where whether it was going to be conceded by a long throw or by that goal, I mean, there was going to be something talked about there regardless. So it is unfortunate. I mean, we should be fortunate to even be in that position to begin with, given Wirtz's goal that stood somehow still that, we don't all understand. And yeah, it's just where we're at.
I blame the groundskeeper on that one. He just has way too much for like New Year's Eve or something.
No, there's a rule that's out there, or not a rule. There's something that was agreed upon that wasn't actually a rule, talking about there being a 5 centimeter tolerance of lines where you can be offside and onside at the same time. I can't.
I know it's being talked about, but I don't think it's implemented yet.
It was implemented yesterday, was it not?
Well, I mean, visually, yeah, okay. But I mean, here's the thing. When we look at it visually, we're looking at the grass. I mean, I'm looking at the grass, because what are you going to look at? Like, it's not like you can turn the TV over and get the right angle. So you're looking at grass. And I was like, yeah, that's off. So when they gave it, they were like, wait, what? Like, what? I was even like, what are we looking at for this long? Because it looked pretty clear offside, if anything. But I blame the groundskeeper or like because they're drawing the lines. I don't even know how they're drawing the lines. You would think some kind of science and technology is involved in that, but there has to be some human error too. We've been on the other side quite a few times, but yeah, that was. I mean, same thing when Wilson's goal. I mean, I was like, that's on. Like the moment you saw the replay, you were like, that's on. That's gonna count. So, and it's the same way I saw the Wirtz goal. I was like, that's off. That's not gonna count. So it was kind of a weird. And I mean, Bob says we did not deserve the win. Yeah, I mean, I think you watch that game overall, you feel like based on chances creating, though, it's not like because of like, you have possession, you're over, like you're parked over there, you're controlling the game for like kind of like long periods of time, like 3-4 minute windows where they're back there, they're just clearing for their lives, and you come back again. It's just because we're not creating. I think this whole slot ball thing is, when you are not creating chances, it's pointless to have it. He is relying on creating 2-3 chances a game, like big chances a game, and have someone like last year where like Mo, where everything he touched turned into gold and became a goal or an assist and stuff. But that's just not sustainable over time if you're not creating multiple chances. My thing is, when I watch this team, that's where my frustration comes from. When people are like just criticizing sometimes for the sake of criticizing because they don't like the manager or whatever. I just don't understand, one, what I talked about earlier. Why do we play so scared and we don't want to go at them when we do have the numbers? Even if we don't have the numbers, they don't have the numbers. Like they don't have 11 at least in the goddamn box, kind of a deal. But aside from that, it is so freaking slow. I look at like how we're trying to break this down, like the low block, and I don't see what we're trying to do. Like occasionally you get Kirkes over there, but you never get somebody down the wing on the right hand side. It felt like all game. And it's just very frustrating to watch in terms of how slow we move. And as a defender, having played against teams like this where you have no chance and you're holding on for dear life, that is so easy to freaking defend.
Yeah, especially when you have 10 parked behind the ball. And I think the other frustration was that some of these players that were purchased over the summer were meant to break down the low block, because that's been a Achilles heel of this club for a while, is breaking down the low block. So when you have these players purchased and brought in to help with that, it makes it that much more frustrating, because then you're thinking like, what are we doing? What are we doing then, right?
Yeah. Jordan says they should have sacked Slot last month. I don't agree to that. I just don't. I mean, that's the problem, is everything is being evaluated on the fact that we should have sacked Slots, and every game is evaluated based on Slot should be out. Like people are not even looking at the game anymore. They're looking at the players, what's going on in the match or whatever. It's like Slot should be out. Let me look at the game now, find a couple of things to support my like theory, kind of a deal. You look at that game yesterday, and I saw online people blaming Slot for that last goal. You have to be freaking kidding me. You have never played this freaking game. You have never played this game. You have zero understanding of what a manager does if you're blaming Slot for that last goal. If anything, it's like, you can blame the mentality on the pitch, like I said. Dara says Slot is psychologically scared of a Liverpool loss. And I understood that initially, just to stop the bleeding. But I thought, especially with a couple of wins coming in, they would kind of get their mojo back and start being more aggressive. Because I guess, okay, I'll ask you this, Mateusz. Do you think if we do that, if you do play brave, are his fears justified, where we will concede because Wirtz or somebody is going to turn the ball over in a bad spot trying to attack? Are we going to concede, or is he actually holding players back from using their strengths, I guess, in some ways?
I don't think he's holding any players. Here's the difficult thing, and this isn't meant to come across as I'm Slot in and think that he is not one to be criticized, because everyone deserves a little criticism. Okay. The thing is that I will, I guess, concede to him is that the players that were brought in, for whatever reason, haven't been able to play here and there, right? I mean, so he hasn't really had the full 11 that he'd probably want to play with, fit and ready to play together. I guess I'll give him that. But I think you just brought the comment up on the screen. They're going to concede anyway, right? So you may as well take those chances. You may as well see what you can try to unlock offensively. Try these different things instead of this pragmatic, slow back and forth, left to right. It's just like we've talked about before. It's okay to go left to right if you actually go with speed and purpose, right? We talked about Henderson for years about moving the ball left to right, but it wasn't an issue because he moved it quickly. He didn't sit on the ball. The problem is every single time one of these players takes a touch, they're taking 2, 3, 4 touches on the ball and not playing it. So I don't think he might be holding some back in the aspect of maybe not allowing as much freedom going forward. But I think he is also allowing the defense now to not look as bad as it has been, because the defense it's in shambles. Like Van Dijk clearly has lost a couple steps. Konate, the man can have an incredible week or two and then be absolute garbage for a month and a half. But he's got the highest ceiling and the lowest.
I think he has a twin, and depends on who shows up.
Yeah, and Bradley, I think we tend to overrate a little bit as Liverpool fans. And then you've got Kirkes, who's still trying to find it. He's only 22 years old, by the way. Robbo was at Hull City at 22. And another thing, Jamie Carragher, to talk about him being the Kirkes of left backs, like I know Jamie is just trying to say things just to get clicks now because it's just ridiculous. So
I thought he was actually pretty darn good yesterday.
Yeah, and he's been getting better. It's one of those things where he wasn't going to come in and gel 100% with everyone on the team and be able to play the same way he played last year, because it's a different system under Bournemouth than he had here. So obviously it's going to take time to adapt. So I think by allowing less chances, you allow the defense to not give up as much. So then you definitely you allow them the comfort and the mentality of that, but then you give up a lot offensively. And so it's really hard right now because I feel he's giving up way too much going forward to make sure that defending is better than it is.
By the way, I think something that gets lost over here, and somehow I don't know, he must be loving it, that's flying at it under the radar, is I think the reason we had the same issue initially with Klopp, and that's why every game was 4-3, 5-2, and 4-1 and stuff like that. But because we would attack nonstop and did not have a lot of disciplined defending, and you would concede a lot. That's where you rely, and that's where you went and got Fabinho, for example. So you have a 6 who's playing as a 6. Heck, you have a freaking double pivot at times. I just feel like Gravenberch has been kind of going under the radar with nobody blaming him. Nobody looking for his where is he at? I think that's the problem, is when we do attack, he doesn't trust us being able to attack while holding some kind of a defensive discipline. I mean, there's something to be said about, you have to know when you're attacking like that, where everybody's going to be defensively if the ball is lost. And that just happens by repetition, obviously. But I think that's a main issue I see is, we can't attack because we're afraid. Yeah, suddenly everybody's going to be in front of the ball. And I don't care who is the back line. You can have 4 prime Van Dijks. If there's nobody in front of him at this level, somebody's going to make a run through those lines. Somebody's going to get through. I mean, it's not, if you don't have a midfield, there's a reason you have a midfield in front of them. I feel like we don't have that right now. A defensive stability wise, you don't have that right now. Couple of games in a row, I felt, he's staying back a lot more. But I mean, Dara says he was missing yesterday. I thought so too. He was kind of, missing in action. Dara says Bradley, that definitely overrated. We were talking about this actually with Angie yesterday. I think when Bradley came onto the scene, he was such a breath of fresh air because he was actually defending compared to Trent. Where are you at with him? Because I think he is serviceable at best. Mind you, the goal comes from him. He has the assist. I think part of the he's serviceable. I don't think he's as bad going forwards. I go back to this again. I think we're playing a little bit scared. We don't enable him to make those overlaps as much or push into the box as much.
I mean, he's still young too, right? He's got years left to grow and to learn. I think he's too rash going into tackles. I think he takes too many risks, unnecessary risks defensively. and gets himself into trouble. Like, I mean, he's notorious for picking up a very early yellow and then has to play differently the rest of the first half because he's worried to get that second yellow to get sent off. And yeah, I think going forward, he doesn't offer as much as as Trent. I mean, there isn't going to be a right back that's going to offer what Trent offered offensively. But the point of then getting Frimpong and having Bradley is so you don't have to play the same way, so you don't need that service from the right back, right? The service is supposed to come from the midfield. It's supposed to come from Wirtz. It's supposed to come from Soboslai. It's supposed to come from McAllister. It's supposed to feed into Ekitike and then sometimes out to the wings. Obviously, with Mo being gone, not as much winger play going on right now. But I don't mind having Bradley. I think he's a great squad player. I don't think he is the right back of the future of this club. I think that we've had incredible moments with him as a player of this club that kind of put him on a pedestal higher than he should be. And someone mentioned the Mbappe tackle, right? I mean, the goal against Chelsea, right? I mean, he's had those moments where we've remembered very fondly, but I don't think there will ever be consistency because his fitness isn't great, and unless he learns how to kind of control his tackles a bit better, he's going to get himself into too much trouble to be a long-term starting 11 right back for the next 5-6 years.
Yeah, like I say, I mean, you're right. The early yellow cards is probably like usually the criticism I have for him, and his fitness. I mean, he rarely is available, and when he's available, he rarely does the full 90. So that's probably the only criticism. I think otherwise you have a serviceable right back that if he has somebody on the right wing with him. I know we tried it with Frimpong. I don't know how well that experiment's worked in some ways, because now you have two guys overlapping each other, kind of a deal, like same mentality, playing on the same wing. But that's the thing, everybody is constantly, and I'm so like, Rookie says, why not try Endo? First off, well, I mean, he's like, first of all, I don't think he's healthy to play. And if he's healthy to play, I don't think he fits the system. He won't try. And I know that's not why Rookie's saying that, but this word trying really kills me, because that's what really got onto me on Discord too. Let's try this. Let's try that. Dude, you're not at like your favorite restaurant and trying a different freaking appetizer. Like what you're doing has to make sense, has to fit, has to be freaking sustainable. This like entire bench is like the backup quarterback. Like whoever, like people just like, if you don't see what you see on the pitch, you look at the bench, you're like, let's try him, let's try him, let's try him. This shit does not work like that, where you just like try things. You have to make sense. I guess the concern I have is I look at the bench when, like, going back to Rookie's point, when Endo is on the bench, I don't feel like he can come in and do the same thing that's Mecca would do or Gravenberg would do, because he's not that kind of player. He's not he's not comfortable on the ball. He's not going to be able to turn around. He's not going to give you all those things that Slot wants from midfielder. So why they kept him is beyond me. I understand the whole leadership, blah, blah, blah kind of thing. Or maybe they didn't want that many changes, but might as well break all the eggs and make an omelette instead of just like half of them. But trying is failing. Says yes. I will get along with your college coach, probably the same age as your freaking college coach anyway. But yeah, I mean, that's like the thing that kills me. It's like, why don't we play Chiesa over here? We play Chiesa. We started Chiesa. What happened?
We saw nothing. We saw what we got out of him, and that's it. And then now you want the 17-year-old to start and to solve all of these problems. Yes. It's not going to solve a problem.
Because we haven't had, let's try that. Let's just put him over there. And another thing about, like talking about things that got on my nerves yesterday, I think that's the problem. Like I can't even be mad at the team because I'm so like freaking aggravated. But what's fans who some of them I consider knowledgeable people, or say like why isn't Frimpong playing and stuff like that? If you don't really understand how guy coming back from injury, especially a hamstring injury, cannot play suddenly 3 times a week, 90 minutes, and why you have to be careful and you have to manage minutes this time of year. You have to manage this time of minutes anyway this time of year, and now you have guys coming back from hamstring injuries and stuff like that. It's just like I blame FIFA. I blame FIFA Ultimate Team for this. Like people just think everybody is available at all times to play 90 minutes. People were bitching that Ekitike wasn't playing yesterday. Like, what are we supposed to do? Like, tie up his hamstring and like trot him out there? And then if he played and if he got injured for 3 to 4 weeks because of his hamstring, he'd be like, oh, Slot pushed him out there to save his job and stuff. If anything, I feel like, I respect I respect Slot for doing that because he could have freaking trotted him out there to save his ass. I don't think he's in a situation where he feels like he sees his ass. Gordo says, the more I see of Chiesa, the more I see why he doesn't get many looks. Exactly. And I think the thing is, I mean, I don't know where you're at with Chiesa, but people don't understand that when you come in as an attacker in the last 10 minutes, it's a lot easier to look good because the other team is like always sucked into their box. You have time, you're attacking nonstop. So they're like, oh, see, why didn't we do this from the beginning? He should start and stuff. He came in the last 10 minutes. So like he does it over and over again. People fall for it. He's like the most overrated bench guy I've ever seen. I just do not understand this. Like the backup quarterback syndrome times like 10 when it comes to Chiesa. I'm not saying he's not a good player. And I love the dude. Like he's a very likable guy, and his attitude and stuff like that is very likable. But it's just like so freaking annoying that people are like tripping over themselves for like Chiesa.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't go so far to call him the most overrated bench player ever. But
this season, let's go this.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, there really isn't anyone else to come off the bench to take that throne, though, right? So I think I really like him in that 10 to 15 minute flash that you need, right? I think because we look back, we think of you think of the Plymouth Argyle game last year, right? He looked dreadful in that too, right? Either playing against a much more inferior side, you would think that at least in that moment that you would have something to hang your hat on. And yep. I think the difficulty is he is such a likable guy, right? He's won the fans over from day one, and mostly to do with just a really banging song, right? I think that's the big part of it, is that everyone just loves singing that damn song. And so you have this guy that everyone adores, who, when we think nostalgically, was a 100 million pound kind of player, you know, back before he did his ACL. He was an incredible winger, could play with both feet really easily. And I think we keep, at least for me, I keep wanting to latch on to that Chiesa, right? And be like, well, this is what he's capable of. This is what he's capable of. Not realizing sometimes that you have to let go and understand that you sometimes just can't get back to that point. I think that's him being romanticized is the perfect way to describe it, because I know I certainly do it, and it's tough because, again, he is such a likable guy, and it feels like he does things for the right reasons, right? Really says things the right way too. He does things for the teams. He appreciates his teammates. He doesn't throw anyone under the bus. And you like to see that, so you want to see that. But there's more to the match than just being a good teammate, right? You have to bring more to the actual field too.
I mean, then, sit on the bench and be a good teammate. I mean, if that's the deal, like you can be a good teammate. You can be a good squad player. Don't even start this DWOC thing, Nick. I mean, that was like some obnoxious talk last week. I think we got suckered. Gordo was all over it. So I was actually, I don't know if you watched Wednesday, but he got like his connection out in Texas is crappy. So he left for a split second. I think we were mocking the concept and he came back and he was all over it. I was like, no, man, I wasn't serious. No, let's not do that. And the whole Elliott thing, Nick is talking about, one Friday, Gally and Kazi were talking about, I honestly feel like we just want bodies. Yeah. Like the question is, I think Scotty had a good question that I do want to go back to about like if yesterday ended with a win. But the question for Harvey, which I was going to put this on social media, but I don't think people ever will be able to kind of like take themselves out to look at it, is if Harvey Elliott was a player playing at Sunderland and there were rumors that we're going to sign him, would even want Harvey Elliott signed? Would you want Harvey Elliott signed? Like you see him playing in another team over there.
Well, no, right now, because I haven't seen him play in several months.
Okay. You know what? Play along. Play along, damn it. Like last year's Harvey, I told you, hey, we're thinking of signing this guy.
Yeah.
Are you in? Would you be like, yeah, sign him, 30 million, go get him. He'll fit this team. He'll make it better.
Based off last year too, no, because he doesn't offer, at least what we're trying to understand from what we're seeing Slot try to do. He doesn't fit in that system. So why would we waste the money to bring him in?
Yeah, but I mean, like, would you be interested? Like, would you even say that? Because I think everybody now says it's like, oh, it's the familiar one that kind of a deal. Yeah, bring him back. Or instead of Chiesa, people are sick of saying, why doesn't he try Chiesa? Now everybody's going to be like, why doesn't he try Elliott? Somebody's talking about Elliott on the wing. I mean, talking about lack of speed that we have overall, is the main issue, is we don't have speed. If anything, that's why, bring speed. I almost will feel like, I know we have to get the homegrown rule is kind of like in our way, but I don't know what he would bring right now. I feel like he assists this system better than the old system, personally, but I don't see him as a savior.
Well, I could agree with that, but I could also have to disagree, because he would then take up the spots of Wirtz and Sobo, and you're not gonna sit Sobo or Wirtz for Harvey Elliott, because I think that's the kind of role that he would fit, is sort of that free roaming on the ball type, and not the guy that's gonna run behind lines. And I don't think you're going to then sacrifice the legs of Sobo or the creativity of Wirtz for Harvey Elliott, right? I mean, and again, he's another one that we're going to romanticize. I don't think there are many fans of this club that don't like Harvey Elliott just as an individual or as a footballer. But, sometimes we just have to sit back and recognize that some players just aren't good enough. And if he's not getting if he wasn't getting a run in here, and he's not getting a run in at Villa, the level for him has got to be somewhere. I mean, I think he's still a great Premier League talent. It's just going to be somewhere in the mid-table side rather than a side that's really challenging for titles.
Yeah, like I said, I'm in the same way. That's why, I agree with Nick there. I think, yes, it makes sense because now you don't have to buy anybody, but I don't see it changing a lot. I think it will be better than the Elliott before, because the system fits him better. But I was going to go to this. I mean, Bob, man, love you, but just make it make sense. So are you even close to saying Elliott is better than Wirtz? Because if you are, I'm going to literally ban you from the channel. I think we're there, Bob. Because come on. I mean, seriously. How are you going to compare careers when the guy has been in 3 months? Some genius in the Liverpool US fan group. And if you want good comedy and ridiculous takes, I definitely recommend it for humor purposes. Said, Wirtz experiment is over. He's overrated and stuff. Dude has been here 4 months or something like that. And you can see, he didn't have a good game at all yesterday, but you can kind of see the class over there. So to compare Elliott's to Wirtz, Bob, come on. You got to be kidding me over here. Let me ask you what Scotty was asking earlier. If the game ended 2-1 and that worldie doesn't happen, what would you say different today? Or would you say anything different today?
I don't think I would.
What would you say?
I don't think I would have said much different, because I'm very much part of the camp of that worldie goes in 99 of 100 times that doesn't go in. You just got to hang your hat and just say, hey, this is what I think. I think if we went away from that game 2-1, I would have said it was undeserved, because I think it, against the run of play and the Wirtz goal that probably shouldn't have stood, I would have said that team did not deserve 3 points and that Fulham deserved at least a point out of it. So I don't think I would have said much different. And I think overall, I don't think many fans would have said much. I think we said this, I think it was 2 weeks ago, that the result doesn't necessarily matter anymore. You have your half of fans that are one way, your other half that are the other way. It doesn't matter what the result is. They're going to continue to just keep pushing the narrative that they want to push, and they'll find whatever evidence they want to use to push that narrative. So I don't think whether it ended 2-1, 2-2, 2-0, 1-0, whatever it was, I don't think any of us, I think most of us would say different things, because we've already had our minds made up, and we're going to try and push whichever way we want to push. The people that were Slot out a month and a half ago, if this team wins 2-1 yesterday, they're not suddenly going to say, "Oh yeah, keep Slot."
Yeah, true. Yeah,
right. So I don't think it would have changed much, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, I think it would be. What was the game that we won? I mean, we pretty much said, you know what, it's not pretty, but take the 3 points, get the number 4 top 4 spots, and you know, you were like, it would have been probably undeserved. I think when you do get the leads, you almost feel like you stole one, right? You got away with one. Would have been it if we didn't concede that like last second worldie. And Wilson, I can't remember. Somebody was saying in the chats, it kind of like went away now, but I think you can have. Dara says I prefer Wilson to Elliott. I mean, we had Wilson. I think it's more. You can be a really good player and not be good enough for Liverpool, especially the Liverpool at the time Wilson was here. He was never breaking into that squad. You were not going to bench money for him. You were not going to bench you weren't going to bench anybody to give Wilson more minutes. So you can be a good player, just not be good enough to be able to play for Liverpool. And I think Wilson is that guy. Wilson is the guy that, you know, like you see, you're like, oh, we should get that guy. And then you get him. You're like, oh, what the fuck? I thought it was a lot better than this. Because, you know, like he plays, you know, a lot of people just watch highlights, and that's what's
since Gordo's in the chat, I feel like this is necessary. So Wilson is like that person you dated, right? That you had incredible time with, like really early on, and then there were some real big red flags, and so you had to split up. And then many years later, you see them again and go, wow, like I remember all the good times we had. Why did we ever separate? And then you forget about those red flags. So that's for Gordo. For anyone who's
yeah, if you're not like a regular follower and they'll watch our Wednesday mornings, Gordo is king of girlfriend and specifically college girlfriend analogies that come into soccer. But that was pretty Gordo-ish. That's pretty quality. I'm sure he appreciates that. Yes, tested and approved. Mission accomplished. Well done. Gooden. But like, don't say Dempsey is one of like my top players I despise. So I'm so glad he never came over to Liverpool. Let me answer this because I think that's a good one. Elliott or Chiesa? I think my answer is obvious, but let's go with your answer.
I will choose. Okay, well here's something. Here's something. Can we throw in a little addendum?
No caveats or no.
Because look, if it's Elliott, then there's room for someone who's not homegrown, so you can get someone in. But if it's Chiesa,
no. All things being equal, Chiesa just became English. He's eating fish and chips instead of pasta. So
okay, well then we lost the song, so it's Harvey Elliott.
Without a song, you're nothing. That says neither. That is not an option, dude. You have to pick one. Elliott or Chiesa sitting on your bench or in your squad.
Jesus Christ. I don't know. This is probably going to be the wrong answer. I don't know. Give me Chiesa.
I mean, there are no wrong answers. Who?
Give me Chiesa.
Give you Chiesa?
Yeah.
No, I'm going Elliott, obviously.
I still think the ceiling for Chiesa is higher than Elliott.
But Elliott is much younger. If you're talking ceiling,
no, in this team right now, I mean, like when you're gonna throw in the last 10 minutes, the last 15 minutes, last 20 minutes, and you're still trying to do whatever kind of press you're trying to do, I'd rather put that trust in press in Chiesa than Elliott. I think maybe going forward, Elliott could offer you a little bit more, but I feel like Chiesa I think he could be more versatile as far as he could take up a position across all three positions in the attack, whereas Elliott is going to be glued to the right side too. So I think that's my only thing is I just think Chiesa might be a little bit more versatile. But you know, what do I know?
See, I was
looks like everyone
looks like that struggles with breaking down low block. I think Elliott can do a lot more for you. And he has in the past coming off the bench and had some moments where he kind of broken, where everybody was like, why doesn't he play more? Kind of a thing. That says romanticizing again. But I think, yeah, that's the thing with Chiesa. I think we have flashbacks. Was it a Euro or a World Cup?
Euro,
yeah, where he was just unreal. So I think we kind of are waiting for that guy to pop up, but I don't think. Oh, this is a great list of. I saw Kent the other day. Kent was at Fenerbahce at one point, and I was like, yeah, this is why we got rid of him, because he wasn't even good enough for Fenerbahce. So that should tell you everything you need to know. He wasn't even good enough for the Turkish league. And I remember Woodburn had 2 great games. Remember when Coutinho's back was hurting? Woodburn came in, had 2 good games, and everybody was like, "Who needs Coutinho? We have Woodburn." And he has very good composure to make right decision with finishes. Elliott can create killer pass, but based on the fact that Elliott is better than Wirtz, Bob, that I would say Elliott, because I think you need the killer pass to create chances. Then it's not like you don't need a finisher right now.
You passing to? Who are they passing to?
I don't care who.
There's no one to pass to.
We talked about not being able to create as many chances, that a guy who's creating would be more valuable than a finisher. Because what is he going to finish if we're not creating anything? That's, I guess, how I'm looking at it.
That's fair. I think you can argue that Chiesa could create as much as Elliott does, because I think the problem is, if we're just taking this hypothetical as you're subbing in, we need last 15 minutes, right? You're subbing someone in. You're subbing either Harvey Elliott or Chiesa in. If you sub in Harvey Elliott, you are shrinking that midfield too. And so that's the problem too, going back defensively, is that then that totally that makes it much more difficult through the midfield and defensively than putting on Chiesa, at least in my opinion.
See, Bob, I know I'm just messing with you, Bob. But okay, Elliott has more better games for Liverpool than Wirtz. That doesn't
Elliott was also part of a Klopp engine that had it made everyone look good, right? That's one of those things where when you have a team that is incredible, that plays really well, it makes everyone on the team better. It makes everyone on the team look better. And so we had players like Shaqiri that looked absolutely incredible, and then he left to go to the Chicago Fire. It's one of those things where a product of successful in the product that they're in, and not necessarily the reason why that product is successful.
Yeah, that's part of it, number one. And two, comparing a guy, saying he has more moments than for Liverpool than the other one, I don't understand. I mean, that's like saying Dance is better than Ekitike too. I mean, it doesn't make sense. One of them has been here a lot longer, was a Liverpool player, so obviously he's going to have more moments. I mean, that goes without saying. Mitush explains a lot of things that everybody tries to say, but Saidu says, and okay, and I do. Good morning, Saidu, by the way. Moments versus our ballpark, because I think he's the only one who takes chances or who tries to do something. Everybody else is very content in passing it around and playing it safe under the playing in the system or whatever it is. I think the ball progression, in terms of aggressiveness, stops, because I think he's the only one, almost he gets bored and he's like, let's freaking try to do something. And when he comes out, that's why I feel like he's the only one. And Mecca is the only other person who's trying to make a pass that's at least not to the guy next to him at a slow pace.
And I think there were many times too. I mean, I know people like to really slag on Gakpo these days. There were, I think, 3 or 4 moments in that match yesterday where he made a great run behind the lines, and you just don't take the opportunity to take that chance to make that pass. And I think that is based off probably Slot's what his directions are, what his instructions are, is he doesn't want to take that chance. He doesn't want to lose the ball. But there were many moments where the players are making great runs in behind the lines, and they're just not getting the chance to be fed the ball. And I think that's one of the more frustrating things for me, is that we can make it look so much better if you take one of those chances, if you take two of those chances, right? But yeah, if the instructions is not to take the chance and just to make the run, to move the defense around, then we're just going to be stalling with the ball back and forth.
And that's why I'm like frustrated, because we're not moving the defense around either, because you're playing it too slow. So you're not doing, the plan A and plan B. I mean, it's not on the Gakpo. I'm glad you brought that up, because I've seen Jones, I've seen Wirtz making those runs behind. I've seen Kerkez making those runs behind. And it's one thing to see the run and be a second later like, oh man, sorry, I didn't see it right on time. You were going to be off. It's not that. It's like, we're not even looking up to see if it's going to be there. Like, that's not what we're going for over here. We're just looking around us. Nobody's looking behind the line. And it's so freaking easy to defend, man. And I think that's like the biggest issue over there. I don't know what you mean by scouting, or
YouTube highlight videos.
Yeah, YouTube highlight videos. I'm gonna make. I've been too lazy, but I do want to make a couple of mine, so people say we should sign this guy. The Turkish kids, like, you should come over. Zero hope on Thursday's side. Yeah, let's finish with that, because I was like, ugh, this team is gonna go to Arsenal, who is freaking rolling.
Watch. Ironically, it's going to be the best performance from this team all season.
You think so? I know, like, a lot of people.
I really don't think so. But
a lot of people were saying that yesterday, though. Like, it would be so Liverpool and so this team to actually focus and play a lot better. Kind of like when we couldn't defend set pieces until we played Arsenal.
Right. And then won the game off of the set piece and thought that we were winning the league that game. That feels like eternities ago, doesn't it? Like, to think that that was this season still, that was just back a couple months ago.
Yeah.
It really hurts the heart. I think it's like a 4-3 barn burner, man. That's what I'm going to go for.
Really? Yeah. Well,
yeah, I think it just opens up. Yeah, I'm going over.
Yeah, title race is over. Last week we were like, if we win 6 points from this, kind of these two games, but yeah, like in 5 days in the New Year's, we kind of at this point you're just gonna go for the top 4, which it's there. If you're not too dumb about it. But yeah, Bob says I'm afraid of embarrassment. I kind of am too, because you are going against the team who is a little butthurt from last season, from that game earlier this year. So you're going against a team that has something to play for, something to prove, if you will, aside from wanting to get the 3 points. So that's my fear as well. I don't see it going well, to be honest with you. But I think you're right. It is going to be a lot better from Liverpool than we're used to.
Yeah, I think it's either going to be Arsenal thrashing Liverpool, like a 3-4-0 kind of thing, or it's going to be wide open, and it's going to be a lot closer than we think. I don't think there's not going to be much in between.
Nick says can't be a lot any more embarrassing. I don't think what we're watching right now is embarrassing. I wouldn't phrase like yesterday or even the Leeds game embarrassing. I put it more as frustrating. Are you embarrassed or frustrated?
Probably frustrated. Yeah.
Because I know you know better. It's kind of like a fatherly disappointment going here. Like, it's like, I know you know better.
I've seen what you're capable of. You're not living up to the expectations, young man. Now I'm just having flashbacks to my life. Thanks a lot, Timothy.
Yeah, we'll end it on that so you can cry in the fetal position the rest of your day off. Any plans? Have you taken all the jewelry back that you sold over Christmas gifts?
No, because we've been closed.
That's right.
We do it on purpose
so that nobody brings it back. That's actually a really good strategy. I remember talking about this. That's really smart. That's because by then you're like, I still might as well keep it now.
Psychologically, it's just like, yeah, he spent how much? I guess it's pretty. I'll keep it. And then next thing you know, he's back next year for another Christmas.
I thought the rest of this whole forward line, they're going to bully us in the second half. We will completely be tired, says Bob. Yeah, that was another thing yesterday. I felt initially, hey, why aren't we getting more subs in to rest some legs? Because you look tired over there. Mind you, we didn't have anybody on the bench that I wanted, like he should come in kind of a deal.
Well, no, Timothy, apparently everyone can play 90 minutes every single game. Why would we have to bench
I guess
anyone?
Just refresh the card. Wasn't there like an old one They even got rid of that on field. That's why I blame EA Sports for the overall stupidness of some fans.
Everyone's stamina is always at 90.
You used to have to boost it up, right? Every time they played, it went down a little bit. They even eliminated that. You're like, you're not 100% at all times, kind of a thing. Oh God. Have you played, by the way? Are you playing behind the scenes?
No, I played maybe the first week that it was available, and I, especially now, I just don't have the time. Maybe after starting March, I might have more time.
Oh, all the coaching.
For right now, yeah, it's there's just really not much time.
Any plans for today? You should go play FIFA.
Chores, errands packed today before going back to work tomorrow. So grooming day, right? There's one. Grooming day.
You or the dog? Or
me?
Both? Okay,
not
you?
The dog, or not the dog. A dentist, right? And
you or the dog?
Also me, and then basketball coaching again. So yeah, it's filled.
A day in the life of a prince, I'm telling you. Where the people don't realize, everybody's coming to you, like the dentist comes to you, and everybody
yeah.
But
you should see what's behind this green screen.
But I will be back with the gang. How's the closet, says Ryan?
Oh,
did you ever fix the closet?
I did, actually. I actually very proud of it. It was patched well. It was painted well. I got the new system hung up, and it's stronger than ever. Knock on wood. So far, nothing's come down. So
all it needed to look like was just longer screws. To be fair, but
I'm a little something what you might call, a jack of all trades and master of none.
You're a jack of something. Okay,
a jackass.
That'll be it for us today. Hey, thanks a ton for all those in the chat today. Please give the thumbs up if you have not done so already. And yes, grab a friend to subscribe. I think we were up to, let me look at it real quick. We're up to 1,525. There has to be more suckers out there, right? So yeah, spread the words, and definitely give the thumbs up. And if you have not subscribed, definitely subscribe. But I would think most of the guys in the chats are already subscribers, and thanks a lot for that. I'll be back tonight with the trio, Gally and Bickler. We should all be on tonight, I think, if I'm not mistaken. 7 o'clock Central, 8 o'clock Eastern. Yeah, it should be an interesting one. Have a great day, everybody, and we'll see you guys soon. Take care.